Hi, this is Charlene Chamberlain, and I'm with WTER. You are listening to and watching Front Row. My guest today is Mr. John Mason. Hi, John.
Hi, Charlene.
Welcome to Front Row.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Very welcome. We're happy that you're here with us today. John Mason is the publisher of Xplore Greater Philadelphia, and that is the Delaware Valley's premier leisure planning guide,
That's
among
right.
many other things. Tell us a little bit about Xplore.
Sure. Xplore Magazine, what we tried to do is we tried to give people a feel for entertainment that's happening in the Delaware Valley. There's so much that's going on in the area, and people know about some of the big attractions and the big events that are going on. So what we try to do is we try to fill the gap for some of the other entertainment choices for folks in the area. People are so busy these days and working really hard. When they finally have a chance to sit down, there's all these different places they need to go to try to figure out what to do. We try to have one place that you can go to plan your leisurely activity, your weekends, your evenings, hosting people in from out of town, those types of things.
What areas do you cover geographically?
I'm glad you asked that question. We try to concentrate really on the whole Delaware Valley.
Okay.
More than just any one of the counties. So Center City, Philadelphia, it becomes our center of our hub, if you will.
Hub, right.
And then all the counties that are adjacent to Philadelphia. So that would include Delaware County, Bucks County, Chester, but also Burlington County and Camden County in New Jersey as well.
Right.
So we try to cover a very large footprint.
Right, because Camden County and Burlington County and even Gloucester County really are part of the Greater Delaware Valley.
That's exactly right.
And so many people in our area do go over the bridge to events and vice versa.
Yeah, and those that don't should. And
that's
I think
right, and that's why they need to read this.
And that was part of the impetus, I think, too, is, I lived in other metropolitan areas where we gauge travel by how much time you spent in the car.
Yes.
Not necessarily by geographic boundaries or rivers or what have you. So that's kind of what we look at. Hey, if you can get there in a half an hour and 40 minutes, it's something worth exploring.
Absolutely. So what are the different genres that you cover? I think it's attractions, dining.
Yeah, clearly, people like to eat and they like to shop. So we can't ignore that.
No.
But recently, we've made a little bit of a change, and right now the center focus of our magazine really tends to be more entertainment.
Okay.
And what we try to do is create or recommend an experience that would take up a good portion of someone's time. Not just a one-stop place to go, but someplace where you can go and listen to some music, get a nice bite to eat, and maybe pick up something to shop at the same time. So we want to try to make recommendations that fill up a larger part of a person's day. A half a day, a full day, a quarter of a day, something like that.
So it's more than just a night out for dinner or a movie.
That's correct. And quite honestly, even when it comes to entertainment, we tend to focus more on live entertainment.
Yes.
Not necessarily the nightclubs and the DJs or even the movies.
So you're looking at things like opera, ballet, theater.
Yeah,
Theater.
Yeah, and concerts.
And concerts.
There's a couple of other things too that we look at, and that is the venue itself.
Right.
We want to make sure that if we're recommending that somebody go someplace, especially if it's late at night or you're in an area that you don't know, we want to make sure that the place is easy to find, it's safe,
good.
it's easy to access. So we have a couple of venues that we have picked out that we really, really enjoy. Scottish Rite.
Thank you for that.
is one of I think it's a great old theater, and it's a great venue. Keswick Theater.
And both of those theaters have great restaurants right down the street. So you can make it a night.
That's exactly right.
And parking is pretty easy there too.
That's exactly right. So those kind of places tend to cater a lot more to bands and concerts, comedy shows, plays.
Right.
So a lot of what we'll recommend also is things around those venues that have such full programming. Some of them are 3/4 of the year, if not all year round. So we tend to lean on some of the venues that we know that if you go there, you're going to have a great experience.
That's great to hear, and let's just show the cover of this because it's so wonderful. There's Buddy Guy, and I happen to know that he's in concert at the Sun Center in August.
Yes, and I bet you a lot of people probably aren't even familiar with the Sun Center.
No.
I think this is their inaugural season.
First season.
Yeah,
Yes.
near Aston, PA.
Yeah, very easily accessible from all of the bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, very close by.
So I actually haven't been out there yet. I'm excited to go out there myself and see Buddy
come.
Guy. Yes.
Please come and be my guest for Buddy Guy.
Oh, great. Oh, I appreciate that.
Love to have you. Let's talk a little bit about some of the attractions, because that would involve families and children.
Sure.
Do you have any favorites?
I do. And it's interesting that you mentioned family and kids too, because that is the one thing that we also really want to lean towards. Family planning can be a challenge, is one of the bigger challenges, I think.
Especially with age differences too.
Exactly. And everybody has different tastes. And there's always the big ones that are in town that everybody knows about, the zoo, the aquarium.
Right.
Both of those two institutions now have new exhibits for the year.
Yes, the zoo has the cat walk.
Right, the cat trail, which is pretty cool. If you haven't had a chance to go out and see that. And then there's Hippo Haven over at the aquarium. And Franklin Institute has the new circus. So, but those kinds of places are regional.
And they're very well known.
Right.
So you're looking for things that are a little off the beaten path that people might not know about.
That's exactly right. And that still would be of interest to kids. Her Snack Factory is one that I highly recommend for the younger kids.
Right.
And what's nice, and yes, it's a little bit of a drive, but what's nice is you have to go past the American Helicopter Museum on your way out there.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, you're right. And that'll take you through the history of rotary air flight.
Okay.
Philadelphia area, the Delaware Valley, has a strong tie to rotary air flight. There's a family called the Pisecki family that has been doing this for a very long time. In fact, for some of you that are old enough that can remember the Apollo aircraft, those helicopters that came down and picked up the Apollo capsules were all Pisecki helicopters.
Wow.
So they will take you through the history of rotary aircraft. The Osprey airplane that has the rotating tilt, they make that out there. They have a big Roto Fest every second or third week in September where you can go out and see all this. So, that's the kind of a recommendation we'll say, look, if you have kids that are that age, you can do that in the morning, you can do Her Snack Factory in the afternoon. It's a really fun event.
Maybe something for mom and dad later. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And speaking of mom and dad, I'll tell you, this is something that my daughter actually dragged me to that I highly recommend is the QVC tour. Yeah,
that's a great tour.
Now, my daughter watches QVC with my wife all the time, and so I did not.
Shopping?
Yes, they are. And while I like to shop, I don't necessarily like to shop on TV, but I have to tell you, I was so impressed by the tour because it really wasn't what you expected it to be. And, with them having live television continually, it being in high definition, you're familiar with some of the issues with doing production all the time, live, nonstop. They have 9 different studios. They are actually the largest broadcast facility in the world that's continuously broadcasting 24 hours. So from that perspective, it was a really interesting tour. Their company has a different philosophy. The employees are infectious and engaging. It was really a great time. I really enjoyed that as well. So those are some of the hidden gems that we try to recommend to folks and say, look, I know you may know it, so you may drive by it all the time. Let us share with you what the experience is really like so that you can actually go and spend some time there.
Well, what about hotels? Are you focusing on hotels and bed and breakfast, lodging? I mean, if somebody's going to be gone for a whole day, they may want to really make it a weekend and stay overnight and experience something the next day. Do you have recommendations for hotels or accommodations in here?
We do not, and here's the reason why. And this goes a little bit to how we started the magazine. I moved into this area about 10 years ago. And part of what I was looking for was, it's such a large area. Where are some places that you can go and have some fun? And I found a challenge with trying to find one source or two sources that could kind of give me the breadth and the depth of what there was here. So that was kind of the genesis of this idea. And when I decided to launch this, I focused exclusively on hotels.
Okay, so that's probably where I came up with that. I was thinking about that.
Yes. Now, because our hotels distribute our products free, we don't advertise and recommend the hotels. They're our distribution partners.
Right.
I love them all. It's like having kids, so I don't want to pick which one is my favorite.
No, that's great.
But having said that, a lot of the attractions that we recommend are going to be around where the hotel clusters are.
Yes.
So spending a night or spending a weekend, turn it into a weekend would be a very easy thing to do. You can go and pick the hotel of your choice, hotel of your taste. But most of the attractions that we have are very near all the hotel clusters in the Delaware Valley.
So that's very accessible for overnight accommodations.
Yes.
That's really good. This sounds like a really busy, fun job for you. Do you actually visit all of the attractions and restaurants that you recommend in your publication?
Personally, I do.
You do?
And first and foremost, because
Wow.
as you say, it's a lot of fun.
I'm sure it is.
You know, and people are so, you know, when you go to a facility or you go to, you know, a museum or what have you, or an art gallery, an exhibit, people are so proud of it.
And they're so excited to show you what they have.
They are.
I know.
They are, and so that is fun. It is fun to learn, and especially being in the Philadelphia area, there's so many firsts here, and that's the one thing that I came away with. So I do visit it for that reason, just because of the entertainment, for my own personal entertainment.
Right.
But more importantly for me is I want to make sure that, and I've got my reputation on what I recommend.
Absolutely.
I want to make sure people have a good experience while they're there.
Of course you do.
So we're looking for, as I said, beyond just accessibility and what have you, but also take a look at the customer service. You know, there are places that I know of that are very popular that we've gone and visited, and we don't announce who we are. We just show up as a regular
Almost like
customer.
a secret shopper, almost.
A little bit to that extent, but you know, if we're not treated with respect, or if we're not treated in a way that I think I would want to recommend my friends to go to,
Yes.
then you know we sometimes take pause at whether or not that's something we want to send outer-towners to.
Oh, yes.
So it really started off as a travel magazine,
Okay.
travel guide.
And how long has Xplore been in business? How long have you been
We're entering our 5th year. This October will be our
Fifth
5th year.
year.
Yeah,
And in our market?
that's correct.
Where were you before this? What did you, were you in publishing before this?
Yes, I was. I had, and I've a long time in journalism. I spent 20 years working in the newspaper industry. I worked for a company, Gannett,
Of course.
USA Today,
Yes.
and a host of other newspapers. A lot of them were in Pennsylvania, which really got me to come to Pennsylvania in the first
Okay.
place. I did a couple years with in legal publishing, and then I decided to do something on my own. I didn't really think that this was going to be it, but as it turned out, I started thinking about my experiences when I first came here, and that there was an opportunity, and so that's what I started to do.
You never know where that little traveling path is going to lead you.
That's right.
Take that one little step, and it could be a total detour to what you originally thought was going to happen.
That's so true for business. And I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and startups. You go through certain phases and certain
Right.
things in common, and they've all, many of them, I shouldn't say they all, many of them have said, you're going to zig and you're going to zag.
Yeah.
So be flexible
Right.
and enjoy the ride.
Well, you know, there really aren't any high-end entertainment guides around anymore. There used to be back in the 70s and 80s, but, you know, I don't see them. And I really do think there is a need for it. Most absolutely.
First of all, I appreciate you recognize the quality. We spend a lot of time
Yeah, it
with
is
the
beautiful.
design and with
Just hold
the
these
quality
up
of
for a
the
minute,
paper.
You can see what they look like.
So we really do try to communicate as much as we can visually. And so, you know, I have to credit Envision Marketing Solutions is my graphic design team. I throw a shout out to them.
Great.
They do terrific work.
They do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And
Yes.
so it really is a high-end product. The other thing that you said too that really resonates with me is, and I'm dating myself through all this, but I remember, you know, when you were going out, you needed to have the weekend section to kind of plan what you wanted to do.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
what we try to be on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
You know, we don't come out every single
Right.
month or every single week, which allows us to invest time into the quality. But we try to, you know, give people enough of an opportunity or enough entertainment options so they can go ahead and plan for that weekend when all of a sudden your buddies call you up or your family calls you up and says, hey, we're coming into town. Again, now all of a sudden you are a tour guide.
You are.
And that's actually how we crossed over from being a tour guide to being an entertainment product for the Delaware Valley. Is I had people on my street coming up and down, knocking on my door all the time, saying, hey, can we get a copy of the magazine? And it
We
made
have
me,
company coming, right?
that's exactly
Yeah.
right, or friends
Yeah.
or what have you. And all of a sudden it made me realize that the same kind of information that travelers are looking for when they come into the area is the same kind of information that everybody's looking for on the weekend. So,
Right.
So that was our crossover moment.
Where can our listeners find your publication?
Right now, because actually distributing our product to the local community is something that is relatively new for us.
Okay.
We launched a new website in December, so you can always go to explorephilly.com.
And spell that out.
It's spelled with an X, so thank you. It's
Right.
XPLOREPHILLY.com.
Okay.
So you can always go there.
Yes.
If you want a print edition, I'm partnering up with the venues that I told you that we
Yes.
primarily cover their entertainment. So the Keswick World Cafe Live,
Perfect.
both the Philadelphia and the Wilmington location.
Great locations.
Right, places like that, or any hotel lobby. You can go up to most of the suburban hotels, much more so than Center City hotels.
Yes.
If you're in Center City, you're going to want to look at the hotels that are around the museum and the historic districts. But we are selective about which hotels that we distribute in Center City. The Independence Visitor Center is a
Okay.
great Center City location for us. You could go there as well. And if you really have trouble finding one and you really like to get your hands on a hard copy, you can go ahead and just email
Call
me.
him.
That's exactly right. We'll make sure that you get a copy. And that's jmason@explorephilly.com.
And that's XPLORE. Right.
That's correct. And Mason's MASON.
And if a business would like to be listed or to advertise and explore, do they just contact you directly?
Yes, that would be the best thing to do, would be to email.
And what's your
me
email
let me
address
know.
again?
It's jmason, MASON, at Xplore Philly, XPLOREPHILLY.com.
I have one fun question for you.
Good.
Since you are on the go every day, and I know you are,
Yeah.
what are the 3 things that you must have in your travel bag?
Wow, wow. In my travel bag, well, first is my smartphone.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Even though Xplore Philly has tons of great maps, colorful maps in the area, I still find myself, in some of these hidden away attractions, needing my cell phone to get back and forth. So
Right.
you can't explore without your cell phone these
True.
days, without your smartphone these days. So that's number one. Number 2 for me really is a bottle of water.
Okay.
Nothing fun, nothing nice, nothing glamorous, but I gotta have my bottle of water with me. It gives me that security blanket that I can go further in the day or further than what I had originally planned. So those 2 things are a must for me. And then after that, I guess it's. Can I say 4? I'm going to say 4 things.
You can say 4 things.
The other thing is, I find sometimes in order to meet with the right person or to even take in the area that I may be exploring, there's a lot of downtime. So I always like to have something good to read, and I'm a big fan of print when it comes to that. So whether
And so
that
you
ends up
should
being
be.
a magazine or a newspaper
Right.
or something like that, but also from an entertainment perspective, you got to have those earbuds with you, man. You gotta be
I
able
was
to
just going to
listen
say,
to your
what
music.
are you listening to?
Listening to your music.
You're listening to Buddy Guy.
That's exactly.
Is there anything else you would like to tell our listeners about Xplore?
No, other than we really do appreciate the feedback from folks. As
Okay.
much as we think we have our finger on the pulse, I'm always looking for people to share with us their experiences, whether it's the places that they visit or whether it's other things that we may have overlooked. Again, we're trying to find those hidden away, off the beaten path attractions that would appeal to a wide variety of folks. So you can reach us on Facebook, you can reach
Great.
us on Twitter, communicate us with that way, shoot us an email, and let's have a conversation. I love to meet people, and I love to listen to what it is that excites them, and that will shape our content coverage, our editorial coverage.
Well, that's great. Well, listeners, I hope you will all go out and explore with Xplore.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
John, thanks for
having
being
us.
on. It was great to have you on the show today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.